as of now, for the future, in the present, which will soon become a thing of the past. Yes, we've just seen X-Men Days of Future Past, so you know what that means.
It's That Other Review Show, brought to you by Two Black Labs Audio and A Week in Geekdom.
Yes, folks, welcome back. It's an amazing movie. We really liked it. Suffice to say, it is hands down the best X-Men movie. And it's just the franchise in it of itself is so wonderful and confusing, sometimes awful, sometimes great, and other times just but it's just a unique experience to witness an X-Men movie because it has become such a convoluted mess. I mean, 8 movies or 7 movies in, and this has the job of tying everything together into a cohesive time stream timeline and just trying to fix things in a way that makes sense. I would say 90% of the movie does its job. The other 10% is I just prefer to ignore it. Stuff like Stryker and Wolverine, or just the implications of fixing up the future or damaging the past, that sort of thing. I'm just gonna forget about it and just go with the flow. Now the movie alters the classic Days of Future Past storyline because Robert Kelly's not around. This time, of course, they pay homage to the original story, and with a secondary mutation, I guess, Kitty Pryde is able to phase someone back into the past, and of course, what better way, which better character that we here at A Week in Geekdom love. They send in Wolverine back in time to convince the younger selves to stop the imminent rise of the Sentinels and just stop this dystopian, hellish future forever occurring, which, I guess, plot points. Now, the movie divides itself in the past timeline as well as the future one. I gotta say, I love the movie. Finally, we got to see the X-Men fighting, but I wanted more. And call me, needy, it's a pet peeve or whatever. I think maybe they should have gotten into a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I really wanted to see more of the future X-Men fighting. With all the crazy superpowers and all that stuff, the special effects. Thank God the special effects are a million times better than X-Men: The Last Stand. Because say what you will about the movie, about how crappy it is, and you're right. I mean, some characters were just done right this time around. And our friend Brian will confirm with us that finally, at least Iceman was given a proper treatment, because The Last Stand was basically running out of budget and just using the iconic look for the character for 1 or 2 scenes at the end, and it was like a really bad CGI. At least this time around, he really looks awesome. I really enjoyed that. Fan Bing Bing, my God. I love the character of Blink. I really wanted to see more of her. That was my favorite character from the future. And I guess I should mention this, because my friends here at A Week in Geekdom will get angry with this review. I am not the biggest X-Men fan. It's not that I hate them. It's just that I like other stuff a little bit better. And I know this will sound like blasphemy for hardcore X-Men fans. How could you not love these guys when you love everything else? I like them. It's just a matter of preference, I guess. So I am bringing this review from a non-hardcore fan who actually loved this movie. It's a really well-crafted movie. I mean, it had some really strong points that we'll get to right now. One of the biggest complaints before this movie even began, when they first started releasing images, everybody was concerned about Quicksilver. I thought he looked ridiculous. Turns out it's one of the movie's strongest points. I will say, just seeing super speed done right in a movie is actually a treat to behold. It's really fun. and Evan Peters played the heck out of Pietro, or Peter in this case. I really liked the character. I still think he looked goofy as hell and did not like his look whatsoever. It sucked, but the character was done right and had, just a really good charisma on screen. And I wish seriously, if you're gonna face such a world-ending threat, I guess, for the future, I would have taken Quicksilver with me at all times. His power is really convenient. Why they didn't do that, I don't know. Hopefully we will see more of him in the next movie. One of the things that was kind of funny about this, I was expecting... I knew the cast from First Class was not really returning per se, just a handful of them, because basically the movie's about Mystique, Magneto, Xavier, Beast, and past Wolverine. We did get some cameos here and there, and we did see what happened to most of the characters that went with Magneto's impromptu brotherhood, I guess. And it's not pretty, folks. I do disagree with one character in particular biting the dust. I think they shouldn't have done that. But this X-Men universe is already convoluted enough. I mean, what's one more ripple to the lake, I guess? One thing I really liked was the dynamic between young Xavier and old Wolverine. I thought it was handled really well. I enjoyed the fact that Xavier was afraid to use his powers. That really says a lot about his character and where he goes from there and what he aspires, or what eventually he becomes, this safe haven and this embodied safe haven for the X-Men, for the disenfranchised. And it was amazing. James McAvoy did an amazing job. And by the way, that scene with the two Xaviers, that was probably one of my favorite scenes, because just passing down the wisdom from your own self from the future back to your old self, it's a one in a million, folks. You gotta love time travel stories. The Sentinels were amazing. I think they should have been a little bit bigger, and I would have liked to have seen them fight a little bit more, but they were spot on. I really liked it. It was one of my favorite things growing up. I always loved seeing the X-Men fighting Sentinels. And while they were not exactly like the huge bulky robot that I remember, it doesn't matter. We finally got the Sentinels we've been wanting since X2. I mean, come on. Things that I, not hated, but disliked about the movie, I thought that Bolivar Trask, no offense, Peter Dinklage did an amazing job, but I think the character fell a little flat somewhere in between all of this. When he first started, I was, okay, this is your fairly typical scientific mastermind villain, whatever, but he never really came across like this huge baddie that needed to be stopped. He was just basically a glorified arms dealer. And by the end of it, I just like the threat of what he could become for the heroes was more than the actual character in the 70s. I don't know if you're with me on that one. I just thought, it was okay. It was nothing short of, I really sympathize with Trask. It was nothing like that at all. We also finally saw a younger William Stryker, which, I don't know how they're going to fix that with, it doesn't really match with what we've seen in X2 when Stryker and Wolverine meet up again. I don't know. Another thing I've never liked about the X-Men movies whatsoever, I've never really been a fan, and this will get the biggest complaint out of this video. I've never liked the movie version of Mystique. I just think, I really don't like how the makeup works or the hair or any of that, with Rebecca back in the old movies and now with Jennifer Lawrence. I guess it's eye candy for some and it looks cool for others, and it's a great thing to do for cosplay purposes, I guess. But I've always, like my limited exposure to X-Men, I've always been a fan of the original costume and with the long wavy hair. And I don't know, I mean, like the textures and stuff. No. But yeah, folks, X-Men Days of Future Past, it's an amazing movie by any stretch of the imagination. Should you skip this movie, I think it's the best one out of the X-Men franchise, and I really appreciate the attention to detail by Bryan Singer and everybody involved in this, because they really took their time to weave together a story that was like the original, but had its minor tweaks here and there that made it a really cool experience. Standout performance for me. Magneto, as always, steals the show. Fassbender does an amazing job. I love his version of Magneto. I thought that was amazing, and just really showcasing how much of a badass he is when he implemented the steel beams into the polymer Sentinels. That was awesome, and just really reminded me of the first Ultimate X-Men arc, where Magneto sends the Sentinels back at the humans. I thought that was a pretty cool nod. And speaking of nods, the whole movie's filled with Easter eggs about X-Men comic books, creators, particular scenes, and characters as well. Now, of course, in the future, in the Sentinel battle in the future, everything gets right by the end, but it was hard to see some of these X-Men get taken down like that. I was like, no, why would you do this, Blake? But yeah, at the end, we got a really happy ending, I guess. So yeah, folks, X-Men Days of Future Past. Do I recommend this? Yeah, you have to see this and enjoy it. It's an amazing movie, well casted, well acted. It has some really weird plot holes, but in the end, it's just a satisfying X-Men movie that really did a masterful job, like I said, of weaving everything together. Every single, well, not every detail, but all the important plot points from X-Men, from the first X-Men movie, X2, Last Stand, the Wolverine movies, and now this one, and First Class, weaving it all together into a cohesive world. I thought that was pretty epic, and seeing some attention to detail, like when Wolverine sees Stryker and he has all those flashbacks, or when they talk about Jean Grey or mention Scott and all these characters. Just fantastic, folks. So yes, you should go see this, and stay tuned after these credits for some extra bonus spoilerific topic. So folks, for everyone here and myself, I've been Giovanni Menendez, and this has been another review show for you guys, which we love doing. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, you know the drill, Instagram, and of course you can subscribe to our videos here on YouTube. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on another review.
Remember to subscribe, or you can like and follow us on social media, or just follow us on our main website, that's aweekingeekdom.com.
Yes, you are still with us. Time to talk about the after credit scene. My favorite, I already knew what it would be about. I did not know the contents of what it showed, but when I saw that Singer scene at the end, woo, that is going to be amazing, folks. Hands down, I mean, Apocalypse is one of my kid favorite villains of all time, Just seeing the beginning, the seed being planted for this Apocalypse movie, which I'm guessing they won't do a faithful adaptation of Age of Apocalypse. It will be heavily inspired, but wow, just, can you imagine the awesomeness? Well, he only got 2 years to fantasize about, because it's coming in 2016. See you there, folks.